some
Some
really?
rah-rah.
What you
Cut it
say?
out.
Some
Oh, some
rah-rah.
rah-rah. I like that. Don't come in here with that rah-rah this morning. I'm still in that, Jay. I like that. That's better than my curse words.
Definitely.
Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show this morning. It is Michelle Bryant here, WNOV 860 AM. 106.5 FM. You're listening to Say Something Real. And yeah, y'all heard him already. Bruhs in the studio. We got killers and thrillers.
Illas and Manilas.
No, because Diva, I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. And then there's other thing over here.
Hey.
What up, Mr. Ride Out? Look like you about to pull a drive-by up here.
To the world blow up. Boom.
Oh, blacked out up in
Yay.
this camp.
Take that logo off, though, dog.
Dude,
Hey.
can you stop being Keith, the company man?
Hey.
Could you take off the logo first before you do it?
No, the we bang so they know who we are.
Dude said we bang.
We bang.
Can that be on our part of our motto or
Yeah,
section
we
motto?
bang.
I can't see it, Debo.
Play with it if you want to.
Take off your company logo before you commence to behind whooping. I'm gonna need you to take that logo off, sir. Sound just like Keith.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, G man? What's happening,
Hey.
company man? How you doing, Mr. DeBo?
I am great. I like the way you pronounce that, man. Debo. All French and stuff. Because that's what it is. It is French. But-
Is it?
Yes.
Let me look up. Let me look up.
Top of the morning to you.
You wouldn't happen to have any Grey Poupon.
There's some in the back. Some in the back of the
For
Frigidaire.
y'all what? For
Frigidaire.
y'all bologna sandwiches?
No, we got.
My bologna got a first name. I don't know about you.
No, you didn't bust it out. We'll get the spelling in.
Well, my bologna got a first name.
We'll get the spelling. I bet you can't spell it.
What is it? Oscar? Oscar Mayer?
M-A-Y-E-R. I bet you can't spell it. Let me see. I'm looking it up right now. Because I looked up your name before. Where does the name Ride Out come from? I see I looked that up before.
Yeah.
Where does the name Debo come from? Let's see. Debo.
What you got on my home? What you got on my 40, homie? That's the Debo right there.
Oh, so the surname Debo has multiple origins, including, not a shocker, Anglo-Saxon, Dutch.
She gonna say not a shocker.
I don't exactly know what Flemish is, but Flemish and French. The name may come in an Anglo-Saxon, cousins. The name may come from Danby, a place in Yorkshire and Derbyshire, England. Dutch and Flemish, Debo may be a variant of the name Deboo. I like
Don't
that.
do it. Don't do it.
I like that. I like that. Boo. And French, Debo may be an Americanized or anglicized version of the French surnames Dubois. In England, come on now. Okay. I could see that. An Americanized or anglicized name of the French surname Dubois in England. Okay. Well, all right then. We know.
I did some research on it myself, and there was a senator out of Kentucky, which is where most of the Bows, originate from. My
plantation
family-wise.
owner.
Yeah, I believe he was.
All right, here we go.
I believe he was.
And hence I said yes, Anglo-Saxon.
Mhm.
I understand. Good morning to a number of people. What up, Shelby? Tell my little man I say good morning. What up, Dion? What up, Faith? I saw your text message. Y'all, I'm behind. I'm telling you right now. Hey, Solis, good morning. Good morning. Everybody that's online on Facebook, I'm not looking at the screen, but good morning to you all. A lot to get to today. Dude, I can't stop looking at you.
Thug life.
I can't stop looking at you.
Hey.
All right, look. So speaking of can't stop looking. So evidently, I'm just gonna jump right in, like no loop, warming y'all up. I'm just gonna take y'all straight there this morning. Before I get to some of the national stuff that clearly will have people talking and clearly is going to impact lives, them Trump boys and girls is at it again. And they own people getting ready to get caught up. I couldn't be happier. But, the sad part is that, the innocent is going to be casualties of the ignorance. That's going to be innocent bystanders that's getting ready to get caught up too. But so we're gonna try to touch on a lot of things. But let me just start with a local story conversation. You know, reminds me of some of the work that, ironically, of all places, we did at African World Festival around trying to elevate the issue of human trafficking. The you know the folks that were out here trying to lure young girls most often into a particular lifestyle that got a lot of people caught up, hemmed up, and hurt over the years. So there's a brother in the community by the name of Corey Kirkwood, who's a well-known community activist. And social media has been a buzz about some recent allegations and charges that have come Corey's way. Corey's about 39 years old, and he has been charged with sexually assaulting and trafficking a child. He was accused of luring a 15-year-old girl to his home over off of Palmer and Chambers back in October, and he is right now being held on a $100,000 bond. The charges, more specifically, that he is facing: trafficking a child, 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault of a child under 16 years of age, 2 counts of child enticement, 2 counts of soliciting a child for prostitution, bail jumping, which is a felony, and the criminal complaint. And I'm taking this from a story off of Fox News. Criminal complaint explains that another teen asked the girl to join her at Kirkwood's home to smoke, but the situation turned quickly scary. So prosecutors say Kirkwood strapped the girl to a bed and forced her to have sex, and then he filmed it. The victim told police he used that video to traffic her and sell her online for sex. I told y'all this was a straight no chaser type of morning. So there are folks, from different groups that were interviewed for the story. Carmen Petrie over at the Sojourner Family Peace Center, who works with survivors of trafficking, human trafficking. She talked about there are people who look for kids who are vulnerable in that way, and they pull them into these very dangerous situations. Once kids find themselves there, it's very hard to find a doorway out to freedom. And Kirkwood, who has been out in the community, well known a lot around a lot of the folks that are activists, call themselves activists, fake activists, real activists. He's out there in the midst. The one thing I will just say is, obviously everybody get their day in court, but if he did what they said he did, under the jail.
I mean, like 9 times under the jail.
Just this whole idea that you got grown behind people, and y'all know what I really wanted to say, who prey on children and young people in this way.
Unbelievable.
Usually young people that's already going through.
Yeah.
Home life ain't what it should be. Academically, they may not be doing what they need to be doing. There are challenges, typically on the lower end of the socioeconomic ladder. So housing, poverty, all these things can be challenges. And you, as a grown person, see that and be like, I can exploit that for my own personal gain. I can just dive in there deep on what somebody is going through. In this case, a child, and take advantage. You can't have no respect. You can't make no excuses.
Right.
You can't, there's none of that. There's none of that. So again, he gonna have his day in court. But if any of this is true, under the jail.
Yeah, that so unfortunate. Like from the
And they tell my people, was this the one who put out a sex video
yeah.
last week?
Uh,
And so other folks have said, yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, like, and the other part of it too is, and we say this all the time, you just don't know.
Yeah, and that's the
what I be
crazy
telling
thing
people. Like,
about it.
I don't
Yeah.
co-sign for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
because you just don't know
You
what
just
they
don't know. I mean, and whether it's Corey or, you know, whatever he's been accused of, Brett Blamy, who, you know, ran and was successfully made a judge. And, you know, and I said even then about elected officials, community activists, you know, just out here slapping your name behind everybody.
Yeah.
People call you. You ain't never met these people. You don't know nothing about these people.
Yeah.
I'm running for office. Can you, you know, and here's a 10-minute conversation with me. Ask me anything you want. And then, oh, can you endorse me? Hell no, I can't endorse you.
Right.
I don't know you.
I don't know you. Yeah.
I don't know you. And just because you got a Democrat behind your name, I don't know you. I tell people all the time, be stingy with your name and who you co-sign for. Because it's people, Corey got some street cred because some other people co-sign for dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it.
Yeah. Other people co-sign for. And you know, because you think you know these people. Like, oh, y'all got to always one eye.
Yeah.
Always side eye. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got to be a special kind of end with me. Before I sit up and tell somebody what you will or you won't do, I have learned to never say never.
Yeah.
You know, and so this is just another classic example. And there are people that they get ready to try to link Corey to. Yeah. I'm not even getting ready to make those connections on the radio this morning. You know, because they just like creating problems for certain people in our community. Yeah. Oh, this is so-and-so's boy. This is so-and-so's guy. Yeah. They did X, Y, Z together. No, we ain't doing them linking ups today. Yeah. We're not going to do that. But I'm just saying this to other people, particularly community activists and people that's just out here trying to help. Y'all got to pay attention closely to who you be aligned with.
Yeah.
Keep folks at arm's length distance while you are, you know, do the work, but it's strictly work. And if somebody say what you got to say about dude in terms of the work, this is what I know. I don't know nothing else. Yeah. Because people will jump in, oh, they a good guy. Oh, that's my man. Yeah. 10 toes down. You don't know him like that. You don't know her like that.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah. But this is the thing too. And like this game just don't never get old. We see funding come and go. We see organizations come and go. Yeah. But this issue remains a problem in this country.
It's so sad because, first of all, for you to take a person and pretty much make them your slave is crazy to me because you try to control the young girl's mind and your mind, and then you use the threatening technique. Well, if you tell somebody I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and you know, by that person being young, you know, they don't know how to handle stuff like that.
I mean, and that's the whole point of it, though. That's why you're not coming for Michelle. Right. That's why you're not coming, you know, for somebody that's 30 or 40, you know, even 27, because you know you're not going to be able to do certain things most often. So that element of control, immaturity, you plan on, but you know, like them is the cast that I swear to God, you just want to see, and you just be like, bro, you is weak, fam. I mean, it is the weak-minded and weak individual that does this to people.
Goofy. Man.
Just what you say, goofy.
Yeah, just goofy.
So I'm just gonna tell people, you know, keep an eye, keep posted. It's gonna be interesting to watch this play out. But dude, you know, you just and then you mess up the name. Yeah. You know, because people talk about community activists and trying to elevate people and show that people need to get, you know, grant funding and be at the table and be taken seriously as a partner in the community. And then you got folks out here doing trash like this. So I just wanted to just say, again, brother got his day coming in court, but Corey Kirkwood, if you did what they said you did,
I'll holler at you, bro.
All right. So speaking of doing what they said he was going to do, while Donald Trump lied and tried to pretend like I don't know anything about Project 2025. I have no idea who these people are. What does this you say? They're planning mass chaos. They're going to tear up the government as we know it. No, 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 no. Don't know anything about it. Trust me. Go ahead and cast your vote for me. I promise you I don't know anything about these people. Well, sir, a lot of the people who wrote Project 2025 are affiliated with your last administration. What is this you say? That was on their private time. What did Michelle just say? I can't vouch for these people. I don't know what they do on their private time. This has nothing to do with me. Vote for me, I say. Vote for me. that's what that's what Donald Trump was saying. So the reality, I'm going to take a break. But when we come back, we got to talk about the sad reality that this dude lied. He played a whole bunch of people for suckers. And many of his supporters is about to catch that business. They about to lose. In some case, life-changing, life-altering dollars, funding, support. Because Donald Trump has now said that all federal grants and loan disbursements need to be paused effective today. Michelle, like, what does that mean? We're going to talk about it. But let me tell you one of the things that potentially, that's possibly in the air. Section 8 housing. Money that comes into cities and states for all kinds of programs. Effective today. Today. Less than 24 hours notice. Yeah, we pausing those payments. So if the money hasn't come, it ain't on its way no time soon. I'll be right back.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts Mortuary.
Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So before I went to the break, talking about what will be a major source of discussion today all over the nation. I don't care if you have a D behind your name for Democrat or R behind your name for Republican, I for Independent, G for Green Party, you know, B for Bootsy Collins, it don't matter. Whatever your political affiliation is, you stand to be impacted right now by some of the decisions that are being made under the Trump administration. So, yesterday, a memo was put out, and a number of media outlets got a hold of the memo that talked about the Trump administration was going to be pausing any of their federal funding, um, with the exception of a few carve outs. They said, and grants and loan programs. So they said, hey, Social Security, not gonna bother y'all. Not gonna come for y'all right now. But I think Medicaid, Medicare, you might be all right for a second while we are going through and doing this deep dive and review. But number one, no one's being told exactly how long this quote unquote pause in all federal spending, loans, and grants is supposed to last. That's number one. Number two, there are already Democratic legislators that are saying this is illegal because this is money that has already been allocated by Congress. When Joe Biden was president and he did a number of the executive orders, they passed a number of the congressional acts to be the Infrastructure Act, different, bills to be able to deal with still reeling from the aftermath of COVID, bringing America back from the brink financially, helping, get infrastructure modernized in this in this country. These dollars have already been allocated. And what Donald Trump is trying to do in his administration is go back in and change what members of Congress already voted on, passed, and was signed into law by a previous administration and say, yeah, we're reviewing all of that. The likelihood is great that the Democrats and the people bringing lawsuits against Donald Trump will prevail. But the amount of time that it's going to take to sort things out. Again, how long is this pause supposed to happen? So I began trying to look around to figure out what kinds of things could be impacted. Donald Trump has talked openly about wanting to severely cut social safety net types of programs. So whether we're talking about Section 8 housing, if we are talking about just about anything, head of household tax filings, business loans for small businesses, how much people could get. There is not an arena, not an area that could not be impacted by this, because all of these agencies that operate, Milwaukee County, meals programs, just think about how many things receive a portion of federal funding in this country. There are many of you that are at jobs, many of you that have households. If you get SNAP benefits, that's federal funding. Food share, food stamps, that's federal funding. So due to saying we're going to pause. So employees for the federal government right now are like, well, wait, because it was only a 2-page memo. Think about it. You getting ready to pause all federal funding effective 5 p.m. today. And you think that all you got to do by way of guidance is provide a 2-page document for hang on a minute. The federal government spends. Oh, I know. I'm going to talk about them. Yeah, the federal government spends roughly about $6 trillion, almost seven. Okay. That's how much money we spend. Now, if we start talking about where we spend that money, how does that break down? What's human service programs? What's aid to foreign countries? So, like, just think about, I don't know, let's go to some country abroad who does not have running water. So we, as the U.S., decide we're going to help you dig wells. We're going to help you get your water systems in place. And we've allocated, because it's a small area, 10 million should knock it down. This doesn't even register on the radar of money that we spend in this country, because I said nearly $7 trillion. And we got crews on the ground. We already met with your people, and we're ready to start digging. In fact, we're going to start digging on Thursday. Everybody's in place. We got the equipment brought over. We ready to roll. And the Trump administration says we pausing all funding. Does that project stop dead in its tracks? Most people believe yes, it does. Because payments still have to be made. Contractors still have to be paid. Flights still have to go back home for people we brought over, engineers, whatever we're doing. People are sitting in the federal government this morning, literally going, what in the world does this mean? And you, to use Jermaine's word, goofy people running the country right now. It's because, see, this is the other thing. Because, they said we want to make sure that if any federal money might be used towards DEI, we pausing everything. And, what's that? When you're trying to set somebody up, you need to get ready for the fall down too, because it usually is going to catch you, snag you in the midst. See, people who are so hell-bent on hurting Black people and communities of color and, women and anybody that's different from me, LGBT, trans, whatever, because I don't like none of y'all. And yay, DEI getting ready to wipe all y'all off the face of the earth. But in order to get us, they got to get you too. See, you can't just say we gonna do a carve out, because this is interwoven in our country now. It's a part of our infrastructure in a lot of ways. And so as we sit today and watch agencies struggle to figure out what this means, I want everybody that, remember I said coming into this administration after Kamala Harris's defeat, one of the first things I said is make sure your financial house is in order. Get your money right. This ain't the time to be splurging, buying vanity projects, unless you got it like that. Now, if you got bread like that, do you live your life. But if you live in paycheck to paycheck, you live in 3 paychecks from broke, if your money can get funny, if any little couple of glitches happen or any unexpected purchases come up, I'm going to say again, and taking my own advice, this ain't no time to play with your money. This ain't no time to play with your finances. This is no time to play with the ability to be able to take care of yourself. We do not know. Today, Donald Trump's press secretary is going to do their first ever press conference. I'm sure the questions are going to pour like rain in relationship to what in the world does this mean? What in the world does this mean? And the budget office, who is being run by a Donald Trump loyalist, has said that the budget office, quote, may grant exceptions, allowing federal agencies to issue new awards or take other actions on a case-by-case basis. On a case-by-case basis. But do you know how many organizations depend on federal grants, federal dollars, federal support? If we did a breakdown here in the city of Milwaukee, which I could do, I could try to figure it out. It would be crazy. But we're literally talking about, in some cases, the ability for people to pay their rent because your rent is subsidized. Whatever you pay for your portion of Section 8, the federal government is picking up the balance. A combination of the feds, maybe the county, the state, I don't know who else pay for it. But, yeah. See, this is the problem with, we're not going to have any people in DC who really know how this stuff works, who understands the functioning of government. We just got people Monday morning quarterbacking that's been sitting on the sidelines who now have access to the reins of power and think I'm just going to come in and take these sweeping actions and it'll just, it'll shake out. It'll work itself out. The unintended consequences on this one, somebody said all the AmeriCorps program, the federal title programs, Pell Grants, all of that. And just think about, there may be some schools, kids have not even gotten their Pell Grants yet. They haven't even gotten them yet. School just went back, like 15th, 16th of January for some universities? Everybody know, particularly if you at some schools, I ain't gonna call no names, your financial aid could be sitting there for a minute or two. So if that disbursement has not happened, we don't know with this particular order that's come out of the Trump administration if those grants are going to be impacted, which means I can't pay my tuition. I can't pay for my dorm and my housing. I can't buy my books. Universities are not getting what they need to be able to assist these students. Everything is up in the air. What about nonprofit organizations who get grants? I was just talking to a nonprofit group yesterday. People apply for federal grants to be able to support the work that they do. So we're not dealing with your grant application right now. Even though, according to the website, the grant closes in 1 week. We're not dealing with your disbursements right now. Even though you started this grant process a year ago, did the paperwork, made it through all the rounds, got your award notification, and now the check was set to be deposited or sent out on Friday, check ain't coming. It's on pause. But you went ahead and hired program staff. You went ahead and spent dollars because you've gotten notice from the federal government that you got $200,000 on the way. You got $1 million on the way. So it's the federal government. They good for it. So I went ahead and spent money because I knew this grant was coming. It's not coming today. And until somebody tell us how long this pause is and what's impacted, it's not coming right away. Rep Myers is listening. She said, we were talking about research grants for the USDA, land grant colleges like UW-Madison. Somebody else said that affects a lot of health department, library employees, police departments, fire departments, employees whose jobs are actually grant funded. You understand what I'm saying, y'all? And so for the people who thought that this was just about immigration and transgender people, and I'm voting for Trump because he gonna stop them he-she's, and I'm voting for Trump because he gonna stop these illegals, and I'm voting for Trump because he gonna support the Proud Boys, and he gonna pardon them January 6s. He gonna make sure that, women can't have abortions. But y'all don't understand. Yeah, this your mama's subsidized care in the nursing home. This medical insurance. This FEMA money. This LA fires. This floods. This is, issues down in Florida. The federal government's money is everywhere. And it helps people from all walks of life. It's a whole bunch of white-owned Republican construction companies who sick this morning. Because even though you Republican, and even though you don't support Democrats, it was primarily going to be white Republican-owned construction companies that was getting ready to benefit from the Infrastructure Act. And all that work being done on bridges and roads all over this country. Bled lateral removals. And, Republicans was thrilled to run back to their district, talking about all the money that was getting ready to come in, like they did something to bring the money in, because they didn't. But everybody at the ribbon cutting, everybody smiling, everybody got a press release. One of my favorite moments was when Lena Taylor was in the state Senate and Republicans were standing up to tout all of this money that had come into Wisconsin, or the money that we had in our rainy day fund during the COVID crisis. And, projects were going to be happening in Wisconsin, and Republicans were standing up one after another in the state Senate. And, oh, yes, and this is happening, and this is happening. And then Senator Lena Taylor stood up. I need to go back. And get that clip. She said, wait, let me remember how I go. Wait. Oh, here it is. Say his name. And all the members of the Senate in the state legislature, they looked around like, what the hell's going on? Say his name. And they all still, like, everybody looking like Lena completely flipped her wig. What is happening? Say his name. And they just stood there. Sitting there just looking at Lena. She said, yeah, all of this money that we bragging about we got in our state coffers and everything that's going right for us, that's because of Joe Biden. Say his name. Oh, my God. You could have just seen the room. They was sick with it. You hear me? And then State Senator Kelda Roy stood there right behind Lena and said, I just want to thank Senator Taylor for reminding us who is the reason for the season. Oh my God, when I tell you, it was the best moment. I was in the office dying laughing. Because that's the one thing that I'm going to miss about the state legislature, particularly on the Democratic side of the aisle, because it ain't nobody dramatic no more. Like, y'all know Lena was a whole fool. Just dramatic. She, great oratorical skills. And Lena was like, say his name. Say his name. And you was like, whose mama is this up in here? She snapping. She get ready to set it off. Man, the legislators was looking like, what is going on? What is wrong with Lena? Yeah, see, y'all bragging about stuff that y'all didn't do. Y'all touting programs and how it's going to impact Marinette and Wapaka and this little town and this little community. But y'all didn't do that. Y'all party didn't take them votes. You didn't make them tough decisions. You didn't want to help nobody. And we pulled it across the finish line anyway. And now you want to stand up with your chest poked out talking about how much money is in our rainy day fund. You didn't put it there. You ain't had nothing on it. That's where we at right now. You've got people. I raised the debt limit the ceiling on the debt limit when it benefits big business corporations, outrageous tax breaks for the wealthiest people in this country. But I got something to say if we helping too many marginalized people in terms of income. Too many people that got too many issues. But many of these people are the ones that's paying into the system while other folks are being allowed to not pay their fair share. Y'all, keep your eye on today. Because and I need you to think about your household. Is there anything in your household that you utilize that could be impacted by federal dollars? Meals on Wheels, student loans, Pell Grants, transportation assistance. Somebody sent me something. They said, just got a memo from our CEO that we will be on watch for how this plays out. Because people understand, if you got federal dollars grants in the mix, we got a problem today. And you don't even give people, and this is why you understand the mean-spiritedness of it all. You can review programs without terminating funding, even temporarily. I can review our household budget without saying we're not buying no more groceries, even if the cupboards are bare right now. I just want to see how much money we spending in the house. But people still got to eat today, though. You could figure some of this stuff out and not say, I'm going to impact dollars that were, because this money's already been allocated. Donald Trump does not control this money, but he got stooges in place right now that's going to help him make it difficult for people to access the money. Let me go to the phone line. We got a caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
I just called to break up things a little bit. I heard that you called the judge a name on the radio station. Someone reported you. And I thought
Lena Taylor.
The radio station don't be talking about that the former senator, the judge, was a pure fool. That's what I heard you saying.
Look, I hate to put it that way, but I'm sorry. You know, you had some moments on the city floor. You had your call of the house. you had to say what you. I'm sorry, ma'am. I could describe it differently, and I'll think about that in the future. But let me be clear. You cut the buck on more than one occasion on that city floor. It's getting ready to be boring.
Yes, ma'am.
It's getting ready to be so boring.
Yes.
Cut the buck.
Girl, it's already different.
Judge cut the buck.
I'm just saying. Do you remember?
You missing too much. Did you just come on the 509 of the courthouse?
Oh, what's going on at the courthouse?
I tell you, on a given day, don't let nobody do nothing too out of line. They quickly understand.
Because seriously, do you remember that day when you said say his name?
Yes, talking about Joe Biden. Talking about they wouldn't give him no credit. They're all excited about what they was doing, in their district. But the money came from Joe Biden. Say his name. Say his name. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well, I need you to know, when the young man was in the courtroom and he decided to fire up a black and mild.
Wait a minute, Judge Taylor. You said somebody fired up a black and mild inside your courtroom?
Did you hear what I said?
Oh, no.
Yeah, my deputy took him into custody.
Yeah.
My deputy had to take him into custody.
You need some home
training. What level of disrespect? Oh, my God.
Yes, child. His case was getting dismissed that day. But he had to go into custody first.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, you just when I see Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman Crockett, I'm telling you, I had a moment. I'll be like, oh my God, this is a whole Lena Taylor moment right
Girl,
here.
I need you to know a couple times I done seen the Congresswoman and I say to myself, if we was in the same place together, we would sure have fun.
So yes, ma'am. So I'll edit how I talk about you, but it ain't gonna sound a whole lot better.
Well, let me let you get back to talking to the good people. If that's what you said, then I guess it was right. Have a good day.
You too, Judge Taylor. All right, family, let me take a break. Now she didn't call in here and talk some I heard. But when I tell y'all, it's about to be so boring in the state legislature without Lena. Oh my God, it's about to be boring up in there. Okay, I gotta take a break, y'all. I'll be right back.
Now, back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So, yeah, I just want to say to my listeners who was snitching me out to Lena, for real, y'all, really? Y'all told? I thought we was cooler than that. I thought we was cooler than that. I just want to be clear. Don't be telling on me. Anyway, so I just got a text message. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to do the one Jermaine brought up or do I want to do the one that Craig just sent? Because both of them is on my radar. So let's just go with Jermaine because my brother texted me about it at 4:30 this morning. So y'all know the little January 6 people that Trump released have been out and they have been, bragging about, hey, we back in the game. We buying guns again. We on our way to the White House. We got members of Congress that's getting ready to give us tours up in the Capitol. And, a judge had said, because some people had raised a concern, and the judge said, no, you can't go in the Capitol because of the activities that you did. They came back with a lawyer who said, hey, bruh, appreciate all the law. We were pardoned. So those things are essentially wiped away. You have no grounds by which to keep us out of the U.S. Capitol. And the judge had to fall back on the order and say, you know what? You're right. I respect the law. If the people, in some cases, not all of these were congressmen and women who were in office at the time, but if these idiots want to allow y'all back into the building that y'all tore up, did all this damage to, was talking about you was trying to kill people. If y'all want to let these folks back in, you know what? Y'all go ahead, knock yourself out. So we've been watching a degree of braggadociousness with the J6ers, the January 6 rioters, because they feeling like, hey, man, the most important cat in the nation, in the world is on our team. That means we doing it all. We doing everything. Well, down in Indiana, a man that was recently pardoned by Donald Trump for storming the Capitol on January 6th, back in 2021, is dead today. Now, he was released. He's dead today. He was shot by a sheriff deputy while resisting arrest. Matthew Huddle, 42 years old, of Hobart, was shot and killed during a traffic stop. A Jasper County Sheriff's Department pulled his vehicle over on State Road 14 at approximately 4:15 p.m. Indiana State Police said the traffic stop led to the deputy attempting to arrest Huddle, but Huddle allegedly resisted and struggled with the officer. Because, hey, bruh, Donald Trump is on my team. You ain't nobody. The altercation led to the deputy firing his gun and killing Huddle. According to the state police, Huddle was in possession of a firearm during the traffic stop. Now, they haven't said whether or not he pulled that firearm, if it was a part of the interaction at all. But bottom line, yeah, he's not with us today. Federal sources did confirm that Huddle was recently pardoned by Trump. Huddle and his uncle, Dale Huddle of Crown Point, were arrested for taking part in the January 6 riots. And Huddle ended up being tracked down and arrested in Boise, Idaho, back when they was going after all these people. The FBI said Huddle was inside the Capitol for about 10 minutes, but remained on the Capitol grounds for several hours. Huddle said, I have no regrets. I will not say I'm sorry. Both of the Huddles, old boy and his uncle, were sentenced for storming the Capitol. They got 6 months. Matthew Huddle was sentenced to 6 months in federal prison, followed by 12 months on paper. His prison term ended on July 17th. But both Huddles were spared from the full consequences of their sentences after Trump issued a pardon to all January 6 rioters. And I got a text message this morning from my brother. Where's my brother's text message? Hold on. My brother said, justice comes in many ways. And then he texted another text that said, Granddaddy would say, a hard head make a soft behind. We're going to see more stories like this.
He came out better stay in the joint.
I'm just saying. We're going to see more stories like this, though.
But I saw a story where some of the Jays, well, I ain't going to say a bunch, but I just kind of skimmed past it. I didn't really read it. where some of them actually said we were wrong.
Wait, say that again.
Yeah, I saw a story. I didn't really read it, but it actually the headline said J6ers say they were wrong. Some of them, not
Yeah,
of
no,
course
there
not
have
all
been
of them.
some because I know some people didn't go there for that, and then you get swept up in the moment and you become stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, peer pressure is real. Even though you grown, you know, I talked about before, can adults be bullied? Peer pressure is real.
Mm-hmm.
So there have been a few that have said, you know, yeah, I was out of pocket. I shouldn't have did that.
Mm-hmm.
But with this full pardon, I'm wondering how many of those people gonna still stick to that.
Right.
Because some folks said it, you know, because I'm in the middle of sentencing, or you know, I'm trying to make sure
Mm-hmm.
I do as little time as possible. There's all kinds of reasons why some folks, you know, had a come to Jesus moment. But let me just do this, because if people don't understand how crazy it all can go and can get. I started the morning. And you know, people like, oh, if you listen to some of these liberal leaning talk show hosts, you know, their hair's on fire. They're just trying to scare everybody. And I'm like, the people usually saying that are white men, because you stand to be the least impacted by a lot of the crazy that's going on in this country. Donald Trump. This was the other one. When I said, should I do Jermaine's or should I do Craig's? Donald Trump on yesterday floated the idea that the United States could pay a quote small fee to foreign countries to imprison Americans who are repeat criminal offenders, floating a kind of modern day penal colony. I'm sorry. I just want to say that one more time. Donald Trump yesterday said that for a small fee, so we're going to ask other countries to take our prisoners for a small fee. I just can't. I can't with these people. For a small fee, we're going to ask foreign countries to imprison American citizens who are repeat. The man who got 34 felony convictions.
He ought to be the first thing smoking.
Come on now. He billed the idea as a quote cost-saving measure in remarks that he gave down in Miami to a conference of House Republicans. He went on to say, if they've been arrested many, many times, they're repeat offenders by many numbers. I want them out of our country. We're going to get approval, hopefully, to get them the hell out of our country along with others. Let them be brought to a foreign land and maintained by others for a very small fee. Close quote. Trump said doing so would allow the federal government to avoid using U.S. jails for massive amounts of money and private prisons, which he said charge us a fortune.
What happens when your time is up? Do you get to come back?
Let me be clear. What makes you think a foreign country won't show a damn headache for a small fee? Because we can find out easily what you was paying to imprison them in your own country. Like, we got irritated in the state legislature when we learned that we were sending Wisconsin prisoners to other states.
Oh, yeah, that's been happening for years.
The price is exorbitant. And you propping up other industries, other people's economies.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing this? Now, if there was a safety risk, that's one thing. There was no prison in Wisconsin, we could send somebody because of safety concerns. I got you. But we were sending our children in foster care to other states because we just couldn't find any place for, you know, a lot of these children who were black children, we couldn't find no place for them to go. So they down in Tennessee and Mississippi with folks we don't know nothing about. Like, if you're not familiar with what a penal colony is, okay, let me just say this. Penal colonies, areas, remote areas where prisoners sent to live and work in a distant, back in the day, colonial territory or on an island. So, you think about that concept of like Rikers or something. But just the idea that their countries, Britain had penal colonies, France has used penal colonies, Russia has what they call the polar wolf. That's a penal colony. Devil's Island in France, penal colony. So what? I'm trying. I'm trying.
I like it when you get frustrated over there.
And a lot of it is because I'm trying to choose my words,
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not at the house. But the idea that you think, because see, these other people had penal colonies within their own country. France wasn't sending their people to Russia sending their people to China. People dealt with their own issues. And Donald Trump and his cohorts who believe that they can just banish, like, U.S. citizenship means nothing to these people. As we see with the whole birthright conversation. I don't lose my citizenship because I am convicted of a crime. I don't. And so the idea that we're going to make other people's lives miserable and send people over there. And what types of crimes? Because I can be a repeat offender, but I'm a repeat offender on, I don't know, pickpocketing. I'm a multiple habitual offender on getting caught smoking weed for personal consumption. Like, I ain't killed nobody. That's that whole 3 strikes and you out foolishness that the country figured out eventually. This is stupid. Because you got people in life right now who stole 3 times and got caught. And you made no exceptions. But there's also this undertone of white men connected to the Republican Party who believe that they get to create a world that's comfortable for them and everybody else be damned. So you don't want to pay people, even if this idea was something credible. I'm going to cheat the countries that's taking these people. Because y'all ain't used to having nothing anyway. And, so why would I pay y'all fairly? I wouldn't dare pay you what I would pay an American. Oh, Keisha said Russia sends people to Siberia. Is it for a fee? Let me look it up. But it's just always an element of we're going to take advantage of people. We're better than other people. We get to decide everybody else's fate. Like, there is something so narcissistic about the way some of these people choose to behave that are connected to this administration and in his inner circle. It's just all way too sickening. It's just all way too sickening. And as we're talking about sending people away, story comes out. The flight landed safely in the middle of the morning, the sun occasionally bursting through the clouds over Guatemala City. But instead of taxiing to international arrivals, the plane headed towards the military side of the airport as fighter jets screamed above, weaving around in training exercises. When the aircraft doors opened, dozens of men and women were ushered onto the tarmac, where they were greeted by an emotional Guatemalan vice president, Karen Herrera, and other officials, and then led into a reception center for returnees. Good morning, one shouted. How are you, Paisianos, countrymen? This was a chartered deportation flight from the United States, an operation that's gained new attention since the inauguration of Donald Trump last week and his promises to remove millions of undocumented migrants. But there's one piece that I want to get to, because the migrants, some of them were American citizens. They were telling people, hold on, wait a minute, I'm an American citizen. And somehow or another, nobody listened. Nobody checked it out. And you got guys who got caught up in this whole thing. Other folks. There's this guy named Fidel Ambracchio. He had lived in the U.S. for a total of 19 years, came as a teenager, left briefly in 2018, came back. He has a wife, 4-year-old daughter, a baby born just a couple of months ago before he got detained. And he worked in a construction company in Montgomery, Alabama. And people are like, this dude been here for 19 years. Y'all initially said we deporting criminals and the people that's really, really bad, and the, M6G13, 17 people. That's what we coming to get. But a lot of these people are people that actually work in taxpayers and contributing to the economy, and you're not supporting them. They helping to support the country. They're not on entitlement programs or subsidies or welfare. These are people that's working every day. You're not supporting them. So we're going to continue to watch. We're going to continue to pay attention. There are many days that are going to be way more frustrating than not. But I'm going to tell you something else I was thinking about. So when we say we're going to deport millions of people, we know financially and physically that's not going to be possible, right? So some of these people are going to end up in U.S. prisons or detainee spaces. They're going to create places to put these people over the course of these 4 years. So this is the thing I was thinking about. And I know I said this out loud. I don't know if I said it on the show before, though. So in a number of states in America, slavery is still permissible if you are incarcerated. Now, what that slavery looks like, and the word slavery, I mean, it's in the Constitution. In Wisconsin, you can be required to work because of slavery. I mean, because of incarceration. Like, you can say, just leave me alone. I want to sit in my cell. I don't want nobody bother me. I just want to do my time, get in and get out. And they could be like, no, that ain't how this go. We can force servitude, aka slavery, when you have been convicted of a felony in Wisconsin. It's in our state constitution. Lena Taylor tried to get that changed. So, on another hand, you got farmers that people are saying, these people are worried about all of these people being deported because these people are workers on farms, construction companies, in different arenas where it's hard to get workers. And many Americans don't want to do some of this work. So what are the farmers going to do? But a lot of the farmers can be good old boys, can be Republicans, can be people that's looking at the Trump administration like, hey, y'all can really impact our business. So could we ever see a moment when the people that are here legally, that get round up to be deported, but we ultimately don't get them out in a timely fashion, or we haven't figured out where we sending them, that they end up being leased out on prison farms to go work for American farmers for, wait a minute, free. Is that possible? Is it possible that some of these immigrants at some point in time could end up on a farm in Wisconsin, contracted labor? So whatever entity is housing them, they get paid for bringing them, supervising them, watching over them, making sure they don't escape. So the farmer may have to pay a little something, but these people end up working for, I mean, this could be a stretch. I could be acting like a conspiracy theorist. I could be doing too much. But if I got somebody sitting up saying, we shutting off all dollars right now for federal spending, with the exception of maybe 2 programs, y'all still gonna get y'all Social Security check on the 1st or the 3rd, whenever they come out. But everything else, we kind of got on hold. Because somebody would have told me that's not possible, Michelle. We will never wake up and that be the case. But you did. It's happening today by 5 p.m. And for a United States president to float the idea that we want to send habitual criminals outside of our country to be housed somewhere else for a, quote, small fee, that didn't seem plausible. Nobody would ever do that, Michelle. At least not in this country. That's what separates us from everybody else. But the idea is being floated. And way too many times when Donald Trump says something, it's already being discussed. A lot of it ends up happening, or they end up trying it. So is it inconceivable that all of these immigrants that they rounded up, that some of these people end up in, quote, prison, and that they then are sent to work on these farms? Because we're not going to let the agricultural sector in America go under. That's not going to happen. And yes, many illegal immigrants might have been the ones that were doing the work, but now we're going to legally, by virtue of incarceration, have those same immigrants working back on them farms. Somebody said, if the thought came to you, trust and believe somebody else has thought of it too. Exactly. I had that thought this morning. I was watching D.L. Hughley's podcast before I came to work this morning while I was getting ready. And D.L. Hughley said in his podcast what I said after the whole Snoop Nelly fiasco with the Donald Trump inaugural events. I said that there were more brothers and black people performing, jigabooing, dancing, and entertaining than there were that were going to be members of the cabinet and get serious positions in this administration. D.L. Hughley said the exact same thing this morning. So you're right, sis. If I'm thinking it, somebody else done thought about it too. Everybody is not going to get deported back to their country, y'all. Some of these people going to end up being farmed out as free slave labor. I'll be right back.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts Mortuary.
Back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. Got a caller on the line. Let's get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
Hey, Dr. Myers, what's going on with you?
I'm doing fine. I wanted to say you are not far off base at all. We already have a precedent that has been laid down for us to utilize prisoners. It's called convict leasing.
Say that again.
Convict leasing.
Convict leasing.
Mm-hmm. Convict leasing actually was a system of forced labor that peaked during Reconstruction. Went even into the time of Theodore Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt. It was abolished by him when he was president. The actual act of convict leasing, where states used to lease convicts from local prisons, and they would be forced to work on private industry and farms and things like that. It basically rebuilt the South. So when you think about the South was in ruins after the Civil War, in places like Birmingham, Alabama, which you're familiar with, which was steel country, you started to see steel mills, pop up, and that's where people would work through in the steel mills for free. You started to see where people would rebuild southern cities. They would be doing a lot of the infrastructure work because they were prisoners. So that and the loophole is already there in the 13th Amendment to do that. It's not been done on an international scale, but the precedent has already been set. And when a certain aspect of convict leasing still exists when you introduce contracts that companies can use. At one point in time, like Victoria's Secret, they had prisoners who were making panties or bras and things, and they were sewing the material for Victoria's Secret underwear in prison. Or Idaho potatoes are dug by prisoners. So these types of things still happen today, where you can utilize prison labor now at a very, very under market rate, cheap level, because these people make, I'm going to say 25 cents sometime an hour. I don't know what the going rate is in prison, but I know it was, of course, well below market rate when I was working in the prison system as a job, because by law you have to pay individuals who have a institution job. You have to pay them something to be able to do work, and that's all over. But there are private companies that often partner or get contracts with prisons, like I said about the Idaho potatoes and other things like that. But there are quite a few products that are created that are publicly purchased based on prison labor.
So, all right. So I'm going to take your comments. I'm going to run with them. Thank you for flagging that. And I'm going to just stay tuned, because I'm now getting ready to talk about and connect the dots that you just laid out for. So thank you for making me understand that I'm not crazy, that this was already a possibility. Thank you, Rep Myers.
All right.
All right. So to Rep Myers' point, prison labor in the United States is referred to as insourcing. Okay. So we dress it up. Under the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, employers receive a tax credit of $2,400 for every release inmate they employ as a reward for hiring risky target groups. But we can see a number of industries that actually use inmate labor. McDonald's uses inmates to produce frozen foods. Inmates process beef for beef patties. They also process bread, milk, and chicken products. That's at McDonald's. Wendy's has also been identified as relying on prison labor to reduce its cost of operations. Inmates also process their beef for their patties. Walmart, the company uses inmates for manufacturing purposes. The companies, they put in parentheses, hires inmates to clean products of UPC barcodes so that products can be resold. Starbucks, the company uses inmates to cut costs as well. Starbucks subcontractor Signature Packaging Solutions hired Washington State prisoners to package holiday coffee. Sprint, when they were in business, Sprint provided telecommunication services. Inmates are used in call centers. Verizon, inmates provide telecommunication services. To Representative Myers' point, Victoria's Secrets, the company uses inmates to cut production costs. In South Carolina, female inmates were used to sew products. That was her reference about making panties. Also, inmates reportedly have been used to replace made in tags with the made in USA tags. Fidelity Investments. 401k or other investments are held by Fidelity. And in some cases, some of your money invested by Fidelity is used for prison labor or in other operations related to the prison industrial complex. The investment firm funds the American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC, where a whole bunch of crazy Republican laws come from, which has created laws authorizing and increasing the use of inmates in manufacturing. Convict leasing. Figuring out, because what do we always talk about? The disparate number and overrepresentation of communities of color, brown folks, black folks in particular, in prisons. The conversation we just had yesterday with John Dietrich about the sister who does not, bring a gun in her home, has told her man, get this gun out my house. He assured her that it was gone, and she is saddled with a felony, whereas in the other 71 counties, it would have been treated as a misdemeanor. So this woman is put in a position to lose everything because we treat, oftentimes, people of color differently. J.C. Penney sell jeans made by inmates in a Tennessee prison, and even airlines. American Airlines and the car rental company Avis use inmates to take reservations. Did you hear what I just said? In the 1990s, the 2000s, huge industry. But let me just, and Caller, I see you, I'm coming. But let me just say this. For people who say, well, wait, the convict leasing piece. After the Civil War, slavery persisted in the form of convict leasing, a system in which, to the point that Dr. Myers made, Southern states leased prisoners to private railways, mines, large plantations. While states profited, prisoners earned no pay, faced inhumane, dangerous, often deadly work conditions. Thousands of Black people were forced into what authors have termed slavery by another name until the 1930s. The 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1865, which prohibited slavery and involuntary servitude, but explicitly exempted those convicted of crime. In response, Southern state legislatures quickly passed Black codes, new laws that explicitly applied only to Black people and subjected them to criminal prosecution for offenses such as loitering, breaking curfew, vagrancy, having weapons, not carrying proof of employment. Crafted to ensnare Black people and return them to chains, CHINS, these laws were effective. For the first time in U.S. history, many state penal systems held more Black prisoners than white, all of whom could be leased for profit. Industrialization, economic shifts, political pressure ended widespread convict leasing by World War II, but the 13th Amendment's dangerous loophole still permits the enslavement of prisoners who continue to work without pay in various public and private industries. A federal court back in 2010 held that, quote, prisoners have no enforceable right to be paid for their work under the Constitution. Here I come, caller. Here I come. You heard what I just said? See, that part that people would like us to forget in this country. You know, when Jermaine was going back and forth the other day with some dude on Facebook or social media talking about, things are better, and that was 50 years ago when people were being mistreated and civil rights violations was happening, but we still got loopholes and provisions that people can call up at any time to hem us right back up. So me thinking that some of these immigrants, while we talking about all the farmers is going to be up in arms and all of the industries where these people work are going to be up in arms because nobody's going to be here to do the job. Everybody ain't getting deported, y'all. Some folks going to be slave labor in America. Watch what I tell you. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle, this is your boy Youssef from down there Racing.
What's going on, bro? How you doing today?
Hey, so yesterday I had called in at the end of the show, but I wasn't able to get a chance to speak because it was near the 9 o'clock hour.
Okay.
But I wanted to, first of all, let me just talk about what you were just talking about. Unfortunately, I've been to prison and I've worked in the Badger State Industries where we're paid $1 an hour. Wisconsin, every car that has a license.
Wait. Slow down. Incarcerated for a period of time, and you worked for what was called Badger State Industries.
Correct, where we were paid $1 an hour to make license plates. I was working on a community crew, cutting down trees in Oshkosh and Winnebago. Now, those were the premium jobs. Most jobs, I think the rate was 17 cents for level 1, 24, 33, 40, and
17 cents an hour?
17 cents an hour. So if you're in prison right now in Wisconsin, I'm not. These were the wage rates when I was there. Level 1 through 5, 17 cents an hour, 24 cents an hour, 33 cents an hour, 40 cents an hour, and level 5 was 47 cents an hour. If you don't want to work, I think it's called involuntary unassigned, you get 8 cents an hour. If you go to school, I think that was a level 2. Most individuals were paid 24 cents an hour. So that is the pay in prison in the state of Wisconsin. Those numbers might not be accurate, but that's what it was when I was there. But I want to say that the license plate that is on your vehicle right now was made by Wisconsin, inside of Wisconsin Badger State Industry Prison. Those stickers also.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, but listen. But what I wanted to talk about yesterday, it touches real deep to me because gun violence has knocked on just about everybody's door in America. Either you know someone that was killed, or its violence has affected us in some way or fashion. 2022, gun violence not only knocked on my door, but came in and took a seat on the couch. My son, I don't know where he got the gun from, 17 years old, was killed. I don't know if he did it intentionally, if it was accidental, but I don't know where he got the gun from, where he got the bullets from, or whatever. But I think the what's important to look at for the story from yesterday with that young lady and her child is that child is still here. And I think that, I know everybody can have their different sides of the story about, was the guy shouldn't have had the gun in the house and she's not at fault, but whatever. Let's just thank God that baby's still alive. Because, once a life is gone, I don't have my son anymore. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So, we need to educate our young people about guns and about what their use was intended for. Because we have, I believe in the Constitution. The Constitution gives us the right to bear arms. So that is the law. I don't own a gun. I can't own a gun legally, but even if I could, I wouldn't because I don't have no use for them. But I support gun rights. You understand? But I think we need to educate young people about what guns are and also the value of human life. It is so important. People have devalued the human lives that somebody could just take a gun and blow somebody's brains out at an instant. Become desensitized to the fact that somebody's life is at stake. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't care how many times you hear stuff like that. It's never easy to hear. And that's why even on that part about where, the district attorney wanted this sister to write a letter, it's no letter you can make me write that does not help me appreciate what had happened to my child and what we going through as a family. Like, there's nothing that comes close to that. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm on the bus, but anyway, yeah, I heard some of it about how people work in prison. I have worked at Bird's food company, did corn. My job was to, the corn niblets.
Okay.
To make sure that the corn, and then they had encampments from Mexico and stuff. But anyway, I was in John Burke after I left Dodge, and then waiting on to Cheetah because that was when I had replicated myself before I came back to Milwaukee to the new place down here on 60. But anyway, I had just enough every 2 weeks to order supplies, and I was working a mainstream job that you find your frozen foods in, in the food section in the grocery stores, and we had to pay rent, had just enough to buy detergent or whatever, and then but on the in-house job, whatever job you did, it was like 12 cents an hour. I washed dishes at a majority of the companies
facilities that I was in until I got to achieve the same thing because I always worked in the fish room. And then at John Burke, mowed lawns. I was 24 cents an hour, and it was a bunch of us girls, like 10 of us. Y'all had to follow behind each other or do the weeding, that machine that cut the weeds and stuff. And it's just ridiculous. And then they were supposed to put 15% of our income in our release account. When I got back to Milwaukee, I didn't have anything. But, and I had revocated myself because I got tired of going downtown. Because people could call in rumors that be revocated, get, get off the job. One time I was drafting at a book binding company for 10 acres, and she locked it up. And I didn't know at the time that I was supposed to be outside of Milwaukee County. And so what can you say? And then I'm tired of people, I'm urinating in her presence. Then I got to pay this, all this, that. It was worth it. Go ahead.
You know what? It's hard to understand.
They do. They work you though. But anyway, I'm going to hang up.
Okay. Thank you, Solisa. I appreciate the call. It was hard to understand you, but I did hear the 12 cents an hour. I heard mowing lawns and weed cutting,
It's true.
and I heard revocating myself because being out here is too difficult to try to make it.
Yeah, that's true. And then if you step outside of the guidelines or things like that, they can sit you down for 30, 60, 90 days for like a PO hold. But yeah, that's true, man. That working for pennies, and it's almost like slavery.
I mean, like it is. It might as well be. Like she said, you go work 7-8 hours a day. You making just enough money to buy some flaming hots in prison. Like, man, come on with that. And so of course I know what Badger State Industries is, the Bureau of Correctional Enterprises. We've had these conversations in the state Senate office. We talked about even how for brothers and sisters that was incarcerated that had to buy stuff from their canteen services, how they overcharge for black items. So you need a do-rag, we charge you way more, 2 times, 3 times more than what it costs to buy it at Walmart. You wanted some Murray's or some hair grease or a brush. The products that black people use typically were higher than that of white people. It used to be so crazy. Let me do this because I got a couple callers. Let me see if I can get them in real quick. And then it was one thing I'm gonna try to get to, but I don't know if I can get to it today. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Hey, Tyrone. Good morning.
I think that what I learned a lot about what you're talking about, this prison industrial complex, the movie Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
Because remember, they did roofs, they did fields, they did everything, and you kept saying yourself, well, how much of this is real? Then you drive down south. I remember driving through Alabama and that we see these guys in these white jackets all up and down the highway.
You can still see it. You can still see it.
Yes, I saw it. We saw it back in the 90s, so I know it still exists. And so just to say that, so you're right. We playing checkers sometimes. They playing chess. I think you're right. There's a really backstory to what they're going to do to supplement all of the people they're removing. Now, if you want to sit out all day and take 10 hours on a field picking fruits and vegetables and all those things, well, they got to get somebody to do it, and why not do it with the prisoners? And so, so it's a slick move, but understand that they playing chess, and we got to understand what chess means.
All right. Thank you, Tyrone. And you know what? Let me just say this too, because I was talking to somebody last night who was kind of joking about the story I talked about yesterday with the Mississippi legislator who wanted to introduce a bill that says that bounty hunters could get $1,000 on every illegal immigrant, that they, help to bring in. And so somebody who, takes exception with immigrants in this country, illegal immigrants in the country, he was like kind of laughing about it, like, yeah, they're going to be rounding them up. And I said, this thing though, let's just say we get rid of all of the illegal immigrants, people that's doing some of these jobs that we say Americans don't want. Somebody got to do them. So the other part of my conspiracy theory is that we do get rid of all of the immigrants. We just start arresting and incarcerating more black people. and then go farm y'all out for convict leasing. Somebody gonna do this work for these white boy farmers that need this work done. Now you figure out who gonna do it. Y'all figure it out. Somebody gonna do this work. So if we get rid of all the illegal immigrants, then that just means we gotta step up our enforcement in black communities and arrest more black people. I don't know, but I'm just saying all of it's possible. All of it's plausible. It sounds crazy, but it's out there, y'all. Let me do two things. Tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, let me make sure it's tomorrow. Oh, Lord Jesus, it's too much. It's too much. Tomorrow, and I'm just looking for, I am going to have an interview with Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr. Let me see if it's tomorrow. Tomorrow at 8 a.m., I'm going to have an interview with Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr. Reverend Parker is the cousin of Emmett Till, who was with Emmett Till when he was taken. There is going to be an incredible event happening over at Holy Redeemer. This is a part of their Cultural Diversity Month. Okay, that was an interesting title, Cultural Diversity Month. Okay, I don't understand why this is called Cultural Diversity Month during Black History Month. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to ask that question because I don't understand. It says Cultural Diversity Month, remembering the past, shaping the future. Why wouldn't this be called Black History Month, which is what we've been called? Okay, now I'm struck. And I don't like it. Okay. Speaker Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr. Yeah, I don't know who named that, but I ain't feeling that because we say Black History Month and this says Cultural Diversity Month. That's not what it is. All right. Anyway, didn't see that. So there's going to be the conversation, experience the story of Emmett Till, whose tragic legacy continues to spark the fight for justice and equality. This is happening on Friday, January 31st, over at Holy Redeemer. At IPAMA, the Institute for the Preservation of African American Music and Culture, and and Arts. This little QR code thing was blocking it. 3200 West Hampton Avenue. Doors open at 7 p.m. and they are showing the movie Till on Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. This is all free, open to the public at IPAMA, 3200 West Hampton Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But I'm going to just say this to folks over at Holy Redeemer, whoever did this flyer and put Cultural Diversity Month, and it's an event happening in February. Everybody know that's Black History Month. So I don't understand this at all. All right. I'm going to get ready to get out of here for the day. There's so much I didn't get to. I'm going to get to Pete Hegseth tomorrow because I am now tripping out that the man who people were talking about if they were going to fire CQ Brown, Charles Brown, who Joint Chiefs of Staff, one of the coldest brothers in the military, for somebody who has the resume of Pete Hegseth, he can't shine this man's shoes. So yesterday there was an awkward moment as they all had the handshake as Pete Hegseth now becomes Secretary of Defense. Gonna talk about that tomorrow. Debo?
Yes, ma'am.
Brought out. Appreciate you, bros. Callers, I'm sorry I couldn't get to you, but I will be back tomorrow, hopefully. Peace, y'all.